Hello, I'm Marites Vitug, and this is Worldview. We take a look at global, regional, and national affairs in conversations with officials, newsmakers, and analysts. Joining us is Jose Almonte, retired general and former National Security Advisor of President Fidel Ramos. A strategic thinker, he has been the most influential NSA or National Security Advisor in the post-Marcos years. In this rare interview, we will be taking the long view with General Almonte on how the Philippines can win in the West Philippine Sea. Welcome to the show, sir, and let's start with your past, your storied past.
Thank you, Marites.
In 1995, China grabbed Mischief Reef, and you were then National Security Advisor. Looking back, what lessons did you learn during that period that the Marcos government and future governments can use?
Yes, I would like to answer that, but let me just make a kind of preliminary statement. You know, when Mischief Reef was grabbed by China, it was really a wake-up call for all of us, for the nation. And what I think was significant about that is it confirmed the view that for a long, long time, the Philippines, our country, has been mismanaged. Mismanaged, so much mismanaged that we even neglected to provide our armed forces the necessary tools for them to accomplish their mission. So that is to me the challenge, you know, which is of our own making. Now, to answer your question, ano po yun?
What are the lessons you learned or the Ramos government learned that can be used by the current government and future governments?
Let me answer that beginning from the end. As you know, the coin of on the other side of the coin of national security is the well-being of the people. Now, if Marcos and his government, or the governments that will follow after him, will fully dedicate themselves to really helping the people, making them, well off, making them strong physically and spiritually. This is the foundation of what can be a strong nation. And if we are a strong nation, you can have a strong military, and it will be capable of protecting our country.
Sir, the context in 1995 was that the U.S. had no military bases in the Philippines, and we were sort of alone. Did we have a difficult time? Did you have a difficult time during that period dealing with a power vacuum, sir?
Hindi naman. Wala naman na tayong problema masyado. But since 1992, November, when we asked the Americans to leave the bases here in the Philippines, it became very hard for us to deal with the American government, American officials, which is understandable because they stayed here for too long and they were asked to leave, and so they felt bad about it. And we had a hard time, dealing with with the U.S. government for that matter.
So, sir, they did not want to listen to you or to the Philippine government at the time?
Yeah, hindi. Well, in a way, yes. But, for instance, we accidentally, si General Sonny Rason was able to discover an incident in Malati or something, where we discovered documents and tapes, etc., showing that their plan for, weakening the American system is to use passenger airline to destroy the White House.
This was a terrorist plot, sir, discovered in Manila during your time.
This was, I communicated it to my friend here, who was our CIA agent, the U.S. CIA agent stationed in Manila. President Ramos sent it to his counterpart in Washington. But they did not seem to, my impression is parang they did not appreciate it. Only after 9/11 that they send someone here. Well, I knew because they talked to me about the whole incident. But this is just an example. Halimbawa, just for our audience to understand, another example. We used to have students to the various military academy in the U.S., in West Point, in the Air Force, the Navy, etc. And the procedure is for so long as they pass the entrance examination, they are admitted. But after the U.S. bases, we were competing with more than 100 countries to be able to enter the academy. But I understand they have restored it to their credit.
So, restored?
Restored the original arrangement.
So, nagtampo pa lang Amerika, sir?
Medyo nagtampo, pero okay na ngayon.
Okay na ngayon, okay.
But sinasabi lang natin na at that time, medyo nagkaroon ng konting problema.
So, sir, you said earlier the lesson is really our economy should grow so there will be resources for everyone and for the military to be able to defend us. And sir, also in the past, one thing that happened during the Ramos government, so you were the Ramos government pala, sir, was ahead of the Marcos Jr. government in practicing transparency.
Okay, yeah.
When Mischief Reef was grabbed in 1995, Malacanang organized.
Actually, earlier than that, they
1994?
We only discovered it by accident, 1995. But I understand they were there since the early 90s. But you see, at that time, there was so much demonstration against the U.S. bases in the Philippines, led by Salonga, and later Cory joined in. And tanong ko nga noon, why did you not tell us, Well,
why did you ask the Americans?
Well, yeah, some friends there.
They knew it, sir?
They knew it, so I understand.
Okay. Sir, but at that time, there was this anti-U.S. sentiment.
Yes, that affected our relationship with you.
So, we eventually learned about it in 1995 only.
Oh, yeah.
Through the fishermen who reported it to the Defense Department.
I understand, escape from the...
So, sir, at that time, I'm just curious, so the U.S. did not see this as a threat? At the time, 1990s, early 1990s?
I think at that time they were very confident that they can manage the situation. And my impression is they felt that China cannot catch up with them in terms of, economic power or military power, etc. But what happens is China is number 2 now in the economy next to them, next to the Americans.
So, sir, When the Philippine government learned of this Mischief Reef grab, did the U.S. Send you any message, offer to help?
At that time, there was silence. So, and, President Ramos is a West Pointer. He knows many high officials in Washington. And he was in contact with them. But in terms of the needs of the government of the country, well, this was accommodated later on.
So no help came right away, sir?
No, it took maybe 2 years or so.
What did you want the U.S. to do at that time, sir?
Well, the usual aid that we received from the United States. So I cannot recall now the details, but when we have the bases here, the exchange, the assistance, etc., were almost routinized. So it was not something that we have to work on. But later, even if we tried to work on it, there was no positive response, which was understandable. And we understand it so well. We did not take it against them.
So, sir, going back again to Mischief Reef, Malacanang organized, sent the media. The Ramos government was the first to practice this,
Yes.
the transparency policy, which is being practiced now. Malacanang sent the media to
Mischief Reef.
Mischief Reef. They even took a helicopter. They took a ship first and then a
Yes,
helicopter.
yes.
So why did you do this? I remember you said you wanted to expose what China did. What was the goal of
Well,
the
it was
government then?
Tito, the press secretary, Villanueva, who arranged this. In fact, if I may, I just knew it when BBC called me. If it's okay, I'll narrate to you this.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Story. BBC called me, telling me, asking me if I were the national security advisor. I said yes. He said, our reporter is with your group going to Mischief Reef. Can you guarantee his security? Well, of course, I said, I guarantee his security and the rest of the group. Then his question changed completely. He said, do you have an Air Force? I said, we have an Air Force, but it is being modernized. I was trying to be kind. How about the Navy? The same as the Air Force. How about your Army? Well, it is designed for insurgency. Then, sir, are you not the security advisor, national security advisor? I said, yes. Then, how can you go to war with China? I said, I have no problem going to war with China. Then, with all contempt, he asked, what is your problem? I said, our problem is if we win. So sabi niya, well, of course, Europe is listening this and that. Are you serious? I said, yes. Anyway, to make a long story short, I narrated this because it shows that as a republic, as a country, it appears that even, that reporter, they seem to have the impression that we are, I hope I'm not denigrating the Philippines. It appears to them we are like a joke, We are poor, we are defenseless, our military is naked, etc. So we deserve to be insulted. So I suffered that. But to me, it was a helpful insight because it gives me the opportunity to think what we should do in order to avoid things like this. Because to me, the respect, the perception of who we are as a people is very important in our diplomacy.
Sir, Malacanang decided to send the media to Mischief Reef because you said the Ramos government wanted to mobilize world opinion
Yes,
against China.
Yeah.
And then world opinion today is mainly critical of China, at least in the case of the Philippines, yet it has not changed.
Yeah.
China, at the time you said it was the weapon, our weapon against
let
China.
me explain that a little bit. Actually, I used to say that when I was a national security advisor, even after that, to help us solve the West Philippine Sea problem, we have to deal with two forces. One is China, and the other is world opinion. I said there is a third one, the United States. But for three reasons, I put the United States in as a special reserve. Let me just mention one for the sake of time. You see, China, according to those who there are those who really try to read the intentions and capabilities of nations. So according to them, China is the only country, according to the reading, that has the intention to challenge the United States over Taiwan, and because of a sense that they could be a dominant power in the world. So this is the two motivation. But they haven't taken any initiative, I mean the Chinese, because they believe that their capability as of this time is not does not match with the Americans. Although, according to experts that I know, that maybe in 5 years, China will do something about Taiwan, etc. Others say 10 years. Others say during the inauguration, 100-year anniversary of the formation of the People's Republic of China in 1949, so that will be 2049. Now, what I'm trying to say is this, I'll cut it short. If China takes the initiative somewhere, say in Taiwan, my sense is that their claim that the South China Sea and the West Philippine Sea is they have indisputable sovereignty. Once they initiate that action in Taiwan, this problem in South China Sea and West Philippine Sea will solve itself.
How do you mean, sir? Will solve itself?
It will solve itself.
How will this happen?
Oh, well, they are the ones who claim that this is indisputable. Yes. Now, if they take any initiative on Taiwan and the Americans react, among the things that were neutralized, there are strong points in the South China Sea. So, and that will not be difficult to neutralize, because those strong points are built on artificial islands. So, very, very little opposition in terms of destroying them with, air armaments, etc.
The air power of the U.S., sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So, even China hasn't changed its behavior despite yeah, the world opinion. But you say this may eventually solve itself in that scenario. Sir, yeah,
So yeah, for us,
for the Philippines.
because we don't know what will happen in the Taiwan area, but we know that they will be deprived of their activities in the South China Sea because the South China Sea is also being prepared by them to improve their capability for the future operations or to promote their future ambition to be a dominant power.
Okay, sir, let's move to the present. As you know, tension has been escalating in the West Philippine Sea, and there are times that, as if we're reaching very dangerous moments. And then you said that we can win in the West Philippine Sea,
Yes,
but
yes.
you want to talk about a long-term solution to protect our country's sovereignty in the
Yeah.
West Philippine Sea. You're not referring to a military victory, sir.
No,
So
no.
can you walk?
Not merely.
So can you walk us through this,
Yeah,
long-term
a little
solution?
background. No?
Yes, sir.
When the government was preparing the case for submission to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, there were some voices raised against it. One says that because China is powerful, rich, influential, that we will lose in the case. The other one says that even if we win without, because they believe we cannot win, but even assuming we win, we cannot enforce it, and there is no authority that can enforce it. Now, these are all persuasive, and this is true. But in any event, to the credit of our government, they pushed through. The PCA, Permanent Court of Arbitration, made a decision. On the first one, they were wrong. We did not lose. We won. Mm-hmm. On the second one, it is correct. They were correct that there is no authority to enforce the decision. But they omitted the fact that China also has no power to suppress nullify the decision of the PCA. It has no power to set aside or disregard the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So, because of this situation, China now, as you know, has resorted to bullying. Now, you know what they use in bullying. They use water arrows, they use military-grade lasers, so I understand. They ram our vessels and our fishing boats. They make dangerous sea and air maneuvers, etc. Now, China, who thinks that time is on their side, is comfortable with this. But for us, and to the credit of our people, I suppose, following the orders of the government, our people did not respond in kind, They just take in this harassment, this bullying, and, just accept the whole process. And to me, that is remarkable, That's very difficult to accept, but they accepted it. So, because that continues, my feeling is we cannot allow this to go on forever. So I felt, and I will now answer your question, I felt that we had to formulate some long-term solution to resolve this problem. And so, if you allow me, I will narrate the suggested long-term solution. Okay. You know, the nation, tayo, we are supposed to expected to grow, expected to develop under a democratic system. But what happened is our people, they elect candidates who are members of the oligarchy or candidates funded by them.
Funded by the oligarchy.
By the oligarchy. So for so long, that's why I said in the beginning, our country is mismanaged for so long. Because of that, for so long, our leaders, the rulers, they serve first their families and their personal interests. And in my experience, even at the expense of the nation, and that is what is very sad about it. So that is our problem. Now, the solution, and this is what the basis of the long-term solution I will talk about later. We have become, so to speak, a oligarchic democratic system, or according to French, a oligarchic national community, something to that effect. All right. If we want to release the great potential of our people, the government must transform this oligarchic national society into a inclusive nation. Now, by definition, among others, what we mean by inclusive nation is a nation where everyone shares in the burdens and rewards that the nation generates. Now, this is if I may say, this is the premise of the long-term solution. All right, let me operationalize.
Yes, sir. Concrete steps that the government can take.
To operationalize this, the government will have to mobilize the national politics, big business, civil society to work together towards attaining the goal of national inclusivity, so to speak. Okay, how do you further operationalize this? Now, the national government or national leadership can call a meeting of the leaders of national leaders in politics, leaders of big business, leaders of civil society, and discuss 3 items. One item is the perception of the government of what is the situation in the Philippines, the challenges, the problems, the opportunities, the future. One item. The second item is what the Philippines can be, given the item 1. And the third one is will be the strategies and programs to bring about item 2. All right. This is not final, this is just a draft. So it will be given to them in a big conference, and they will be asked to go over it, and they want to amend it, it's okay. They want to disregard it and have another plan, it's okay. Because what is very important is to adopt a plan that has the consensus of the nation, a people's consensus, so to speak. This is what is very important if this plan has to take
sir. That depends a lot on the leadership.
That is correct.
The president has to be strategic.
That is true. But anyway, we are already indicating what is the strategy.
Okay.
So they can just improve on it. All right. Having said this, they can be given what they want, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, etc. Then they come back. And then we don't know what they will come about, will come out with it, using the documents initially given to them. But we expect that there will be some synthesis, there will be new suggestions or what. But one of the most important thing is the experts who prepared the initial draft will now have the experts of the politics, of business, and civil society who can work together and really come out with a concrete plan. And
this is not just like a government plan. Like
no, it's not. You might call it. You know, they have what they call a whole nation approach.
Yes.
They say they have a whole government approach.
Yes.
I would say this is a whole people approach, you know. This is people power in building a new nation, so to speak. Because it is only a strong nation which will make us win in the South China Sea. If we are the way we are, and we do not alter the situation, Marites, 100 years from now, we will be the same as it is today. I hope our people realize that. When Rizal said that 100 years hence, where is the Philippines today relative to Rizal's time?
Sir, you wrote in your memoir that the one important area to reform is politics.
That's true.
And how can this be done? It's just through elections?
Well, this is one approach in the political. This is one approach in reforming politics, because here we are asking, we are proposing the group to come out with a plan that is acceptable to everybody, that will progress the nation, that will grow the nation according to the will of the majority of the people, for that matter. Now, if this is approved and we look at it every 3 years, after 6 years, the next election, assuming that the present system is not changed, those candidates who will be campaigning will have this as their campaign platform. Now, this might be, you know, people will say this is very idealistic.
Yes, sir, I was about to say that.
Yeah, is there any other choice? You know, Marites, when we started, Ramos started the Philippines 2000. He was alone. There was no consensus on that. It was just his authority as president. He was alone. And the initial strategy is to level the playing field. And the initial action was to, well, if I may use the word, dismantle monopolies, etc. And, well, yours truly had the honor to have that assignment to take care of that. So they really were not only against it, but they mount a opposition against it. And I had the honor to be an object of that opposition. But take note, Ramos started that January 93. By 1995, Newsweek magazine had a cover, "The Philippines, an Emerging Tiger." Now, what I'm trying to say is, if we do what is right, even how controversial, how difficult, you have to do it. Otherwise, as Mandela said, everything is impossible until you do it.
Sir, so first also is that we citizens should vote for the right leaders.
That is true, but the point is, how will we teach them to vote for the right leaders? We tell them in maybe workshops, etc., to vote for the right leaders. The church is very active on this. But when election comes, how many follow? For a little amount, they change their mind. That's the reality. So how do you overcome that? These are the, maybe you can cut this off, but it is an anecdote. No? According to this story, Winston Churchill, during the Second World War, was having tea beside a Olympic swimming pool. While drinking tea, he used the teaspoon to scoop water from the pool and empty it outside. So one of his aides noticed it, and he asked Winston Churchill, "Sir, what are you doing?" I said, "I am emptying the pool." "Sir, is that possible?" Then I understand, according to the story, the countenance of Churchill changed. The young man remembered this. Once this pool is empty, we should win the war against Hitler.
Okay, that's a good food for thought, sir. So once the pool is empty, we should win the war.
I win the war.
Against China short of violence? Is there such a thing as winning short of violence?
We will win the war with China if we succeed in building a nation that is respectable, that is strong. We don't need to be a superpower. We don't need to be a political or military power. But if we are morally ascendant, because people see the Filipinos to be working together to improve themselves, they will be happy. This is what happened in, look at Singapore, look at South Korea. Singapore is very small, but they are respected by the world. I don't think anybody thinks of invading Singapore,
Sir, the Philippines aspires to be an upper middle income country next year.
What is the measure? GDP?
They call it a gross national income per year, per capita per year.
Okay.
So this year, 2023 pala, our gross national income per capita is $4,000 plus.
Okay.
Singapore, sir, their GIN,
30.
GNI, is 100 plus thousand as of 2023. 100 plus thousand US dollars per capita.
30 years ago, before I left, was 30,000 Singapore dollars.
111,000 US dollars.
Oh my
Our GNI is 4,000 plus US dollars. So, malayo pa tayo, sir.
Now, even if we had that, which is better than the previous one, we had only 700 when we started in 1992.
So this is part of the transformation.
Yes. But the question is this. Nasaan ba ang pera? I mean, who has the monopoly of the reward? Do we have a middle class who enjoys some amount of rewards for this?
Sir, according to a recent study 40% of the Philippine society is middle class. They have an income.
How much?
Sir, I forgot, but that's the study made by the Philippine Institute of Development
I
Studies.
see. Well, I really do, but my sense is this. We have so many people who are poor and very few who are rich. By the way, this is not, it's only, not only the Philippines who have this problem. If you listen to Senator Bernie Sanders, you listen even to Kamala Harris or her vice president, this is the problem of America. They have trillionaires, you know, not billionaires, trillionaires. But the American citizens are suffering, and their middle class has been reduced so much. They all became poor. Many of them became poor. And that is why America is no longer as strong as it used to. This is what Xi Jinping says. America is in decline, you know. They are rising. So time is on their side, etc., etc.
Sige, sir. For the final question, you said also in your memoir that we also need to you said earlier, long-term strategic transformation and to build our nationhood. I think you've always been advocating nation building and forging of identity.
Yeah.
So all this go into making the Philippines a respectable nation, sir. So it's our economic growth, our
political cohesion,
and what else can make us forge our identity aside from the economic growth, political cohesion?
You know, if we really try to work together, and the purpose is for the common good for everybody, that will the process itself will build a consciousness which will define who we are. Because you cannot have an identity because somebody said you're like that. Your identity is carved out by your own efforts, by your own struggle, etc. No one will do it for you. It's you, and not just by thinking about it or talking about it. It's actively by doing it. And yes.
Sir, you've been doing this since you joined the Philippine military, then
Yes.
you joined government, and then you became national security advisor. Do you still think this can happen, in the next generation?
Well, I'm now 92, and I am almost finished,
Finished with?
with my life.
Sir, okay.
And I have never lost hope. Because the life of a nation is not the life of a human person. So we continue to struggle. We continue to strive for this. Now, in fact, I am aware that people will laugh at what I have said. I expect that. But that is part of our growth. That's part of our struggle. So I hope everyone will try their best. But even they're not trying this best, is part of the struggle,
So, sir, dapat pala we should really, it's a struggle to make our voters realize who the right leaders are, sir, based on standards or programs or policies.
Well, that is an approach. But do not expect too much about it, that it will be successful. But even if you do not expect success, it should be that.
Okay.
This is how to do these things, You just, I have seen this. In war, I was with the Viet Cong, as you know, for 3 years. And all they have is nukmam, patis, and a bowl of rice wrapped in the American parachute, like they cut it like handkerchief. That's all their ration for the day. And it's very likely if there is an encounter, they lose their life. But they go on because they believe that their life, their sacrifice, even if it appears to be meaningless, is a contribution. All of them are indoctrinated among themselves, katmang, meaning one mind, one heart, one mission. And they live with that. And Marcos tried to do that. Isang bangsa, isang diwa, but these things are done not by words, but by example.
Sir, on that note, well, thank you for hoping. Thank you for being hopeful. And I think that says a lot to our viewers, especially the young ones. So thank you, sir. Thank you, General Almonte.
Thank you.
That's it for today's show. If you wish to talk more about this subject with us, do download the Rappler app and head to the Global Security Chat channel. Just follow the QR code on your screen to get the app. Thank you to our viewers. This has been Worldview with Marites Vitug. Till next time.